Hey yo, and good evening this evening, or night, or where the fuck it is where you are. Welcome to the 423 podcast. 423 being the month and year when we will finally escape, normalize, or succumb to our great and noble Corona Chan. So here's what we're doing tonight. I have put this on the back burner forever and decided to finally do it. This is Trailer Park Tales 2. If my friend who I tagged in the original post is listening, yep, finally got around to it. I'm done sucking now. Let's just knock this out. So when we last left the story, our hero, that would be me, had just exited the trailer, which was home to the park's the park's massage parlor manager. She was laying on the floor in the trailer hallway with a gash in her forehead and a small puddle of her blood oozing out. She was not breathing because her boyfriend cracked her skull on the bathroom sink and refused CPR help from me because he loved her. So I'm back across the street and about 3 doors down in my trailer. It's a nice, beautiful, hot August day, and I decide, fuck it. Let's go over and visit the neighbor, see how she's doing. So I go across the street, knock on her door, and she answers. She's got a big white fucking bandage on her head. And she says, "Hello, do I know you?" And I say, "Yes. I'm the one who called the rescue squad to come and help you." And she says, "Oh, come on in." So I go into her place, and she's being visited by two of the girls that work at the massage parlor for her. One of whom I'd worked with at a local factory. Just adjusting volumes a little bit. And they're all nice and thankful and everything. And we chat and we get high. And then I got to get going. Got shit to do. Going into town to a bar tonight. And she says, "Well, let me thank you for your help. Here." And she breaks out this bottle of pills. And I'm like, "Well, what are these?" She goes, "These are Emperor No. 3 with codeine." Then she gives me instructions and says, "You want to take one of these to get off and two of these to get all fucked up." I'm about 20 at the time, so fucked up sounds good to me. I think the years 17 through 23 were spent doing any drug I could find available. As a side note, I was once given some opium and I attempted to smoke it. Unfortunately, it wasn't opium, it was a wad of gum. I was gullible when I was young and anxious to get high. Anyways, I head home. The 6 Emperor No. 3s in my front pocket. And I start showering and getting ready to go out that night. This requires a change of mood. Hold on. There we go. Put the trailer park up there. Put the regrettable drugs. And let Darwin watch to work his magic as he may. The map down at the bottom is a map of overdosing between 1990, I think it is, and 2015. Notice how the red spots grow. I was no trendy fucker, not me. I was getting overdosed when getting overdosed wasn't cool at all. But let's go back to the trailer now. No, better adjust this down a little bit. That should work. So anyways, I go home to the trailer, wash up, put on my best blue jeans, my best sleeveless shirt, my best work boots with the steel toes, because we're going to a biker bar tonight. And I head out. By head out, you probably think I mean drive, but driving is for the elite. I had to walk the 4 miles into town. It was a hot day and there was beer at the end and I was young and lean and in good shape. So fuck it, I'm going. Can't tell you all of what I did that afternoon, but I do know when the evening rolled around, it was nice and hot and the air conditioning in the bar wasn't for shit. This bar was long and lean. I think it was probably about 3 times longer than it was wide. I walked in. A bunch of people I knew by sight, but I didn't really know any of them by name. Except for the bartender, that was Gwen. The bar was PK's, Pizza King's, down in Carbondale. Gwen died last year or the year before. It was posted on the PK's page on Facebook. It was sad to hear. Gwen was something. She was one of those people you remember. Sorry, readjusting a little bit. Anyhow. Alright, that works. Now I go into the bar. The band is setting up. The band is Big Twist and the Mellow Fellows. If you're an old blues aficionado, you might remember them. They played, well, Carbondale in southern Illinois and as far north as, say, Effingham and Centralia, and I think occasionally Bloomington Normal, Champaign-Urbana. But they were a real hot blues band. They played, they didn't give a fuck, they just played. Anyhow, I go in, the band setting up. It's quarter tapper night, so this is going to be my big night. Got my 6 Emperor in with me. Got my quarter tapper, a pocket full of quarters. The band starts playing, and I start drinking. I pull an Emperor out of my pocket, and I swig it down with a beer. Band's playing, it's good, we're all having fun. Half an hour goes by. I don't feel shit. So I figure, fuck it, I'll take another Emperor. And I swig it with a beer. We're all laughing and joking, have a good time, and about a half an hour later, I'm still not feeling anything. Now I gotta say that opium products, I think codeine's an opium product. All I know is it didn't fucking affect me at all. It's totally useless. Didn't work that day, didn't work a decade later when I had my wisdom teeth pulled. But the band was playing, and Big Twist was sounding really good, and everybody was loving it. A lot of shouting, drunken dancing. It was an awesome time. Well, I kept washing, rinsing, repeating, as you might say, until I was down to my last 2 Emperor. I was probably about 6 beers in. Those little cups, not the big backyard cups. Give it 8 to 12 ounces per cup. And I figured, well, I better slow down a little bit. I don't know if this is going to hit. So I waited an hour. Still felt nothing, so I took my 5th one. Washed it down. Waited another hour. Not shit. The band had been playing for a while. They'd already taken a break or two. It was getting close to the end of the night when I slammed down that 6th one. Washed it down with a beer. And I was feeling nothing for about 5 minutes. When all of a sudden, something just did not feel right. I decided it'd be best if I walked out of the bar. I took about 6 steps. And that's when I had my near-death experience. The lights went out. Couldn't see, couldn't hear, couldn't feel. Everything went black. At that point, I felt some pressure on my forehead. Then immediately after that, I felt some pressure on my nose. And less than a minute after that, I felt 2 people grab me under the armpits and drag me over to the church pew next to the door. And one of them, I don't know who the second one was. First one was the door dyke. I was friendly with her. She was a good lady. Told me to sit there. My vision is all swimming, gray, and nasty. So I put my hand out in front of me, my left hand, barely able to see, and I wipe it across my forehead, and I stare at it. And I'm thinking, damn, good, no blood. Except that's not quite how it worked. When the door dyke came back out of the bathroom, she put about big old fucking handload of toilet paper in my hand. She slammed it to my head, pressed it to my forehead, and said, keep this here. Now I was kind of fucked because it was a 4-mile walk back. And I was in no condition to stand up, let alone walk. And that was when I remember that I'd seen Johnny. He was the only one that I recognized in the crowd. Johnny lived in the next trailer park over, which was right across the road and maybe 50 feet. So I was able to gain my feet again. I went looking for him. This was the mid-70s, and there was a whole lot of red, black, and green going on in the black community. Johnny was kind of a Pan-Africanist, I believe. Had on his red, black, and green beret, green army shirt, sleeveless, blue jeans. And he was there with both of his wives. Yes, he had two. I don't make this shit up. And I'm like, Johnny, can you give me a ride back to the court, man? I'm fucked up. Johnny looks at me, sees I'm a mess, and he says, sure, man. Leaving now anyways. So him and his two wives start heading out, and I'm having problems following, so he sends back one to grab me and lead me by the hand over to his car. Johnny had a station wagon, one of those old 70s station wagons with the wood panel looking sides. And he opened that back door. He slid me in feet first, like I was plywood. The night was still hot. It was beautiful. I was bleeding on his plywood. Oh, on the floor of his van, our car, I mean. Sorry about that. And they drive us home the 4 miles. It's a little bit after 2 in the morning, and they decide they're going to stop at the Burger King on the way home. And they're all looking all red, black, and green, and there'd been a lot of racial tension a couple years earlier, and all I remember, I didn't get a burger or anything they didn't offer to buy, and I couldn't have ate it anyways. All I remember is the look of horror on that poor little white girl working at the drive-thru as we drove by and she saw me with my bloody ass forehead bleeding out in the back of that car. Now, I don't remember exactly how I got home. I mean, I know how I got to their park. And I think at that part, they dropped me off at the mouth of their park and I had to walk the remaining not even quarter mile home. And I was never so relieved to go lay on a couch and fall asleep. And I was too fucked up, too near to OD to bother to wash myself off. So what woke me up in the morning was a shriek from one of my roommates. Something about, he's bleeding to death. But he was a little excited. It wasn't that way. My forehead was all crusted with blood. It was a gruesome sight. Still didn't learn any better. Kept drinking and drugging for the next couple. And I'll probably get around to that in Trailer Park 3. It takes place in a new trailer park. Same mid-70s stupidity. Same bulletproof 19 or 20-year-old man. That would be me. If anybody bothered to listen, thank you very much. I'm about out of here. You all have a good evening.